Today, we're going to talk about the difference between a resolution, a goal, and an intention, why they often fail, and how to turn that around. Resolutions very often reflect something that almost feels more like a wish. They're so easy to make, but they're also very easy to break. And as soon as they're broken, we feel like we failed, and then we tend to give up on them. Goals are different, but they're usually about something that's way out there in the future. And this isn't to say that you shouldn't have goals. Goals are good, but it can be very difficult to stay focused on something that's way out there when you're here, busy living every other part of your life. Now, the most powerful thing about setting clear intentions is that they can't be broken and they're not out there in the future somewhere. They're always right here, right now with you in this moment, ready to help you start again and choose again over and over again. And that changes everything because this isn't a wish or a plan for something that you want someday. It's a direction. Goals are about outcomes, but intentions are about orientation. They're set in the context of this moment for this moment. And they're far more focused on the journey than the destination because your life isn't somewhere way out there. You're always here and it's always now. So intentions are describing how you're choosing to show up and engage in every moment of your life as it's unfolding. And all your resolutions and goals are obviously useful for setting off in a new direction. They can give you some really good subject matter to work with because they do reflect what you want. And we do want to set intentions to make things happen, but you don't have to know exactly how they're going to happen. And you're allowed to make adjustments along the way. And that's where you find your true power, not out there somewhere in the future, but right here, right now. We set intentions to participate consciously in what's already happening. Resolutions and goals can get tangled up with old conditioning or ideas about what would make other people happy, or based in fear or obligation. And if you're not getting any traction on those goals, that's not a motivation problem. That's a truth problem. Truth asks us to study the patterns in our lives and look at where we actually are right now instead of where we were or where we think we should be. But it also asks about what you're avoiding, what you already know but haven't admitted yet, and what keeps showing up in your everyday experience. And if you're not lined up with the truth, any big goal for the future is going to take a lot of effort to maintain. Intentions are built on who you really are, where you are right now, and what you really want, and they stay steady even when they ask for something difficult. Because with any intentions set on something good, you're never failing. If your intentions are simple and present focused and meaningful to you, they have power. And that power is no longer dependent on external circumstances or eventual outcomes. You're still choosing a target, and it does help if that target is clear, but you're removing some of the negative pressure. And because you're a person with a life, those targets can be moving and changing all the time. And you got to know that's okay. Any amount of time you spend beating yourself up for all the ways that you might have been doing it wrong just keeps taking you in the wrong direction. Intentions remove so many of the labels that we put on our own performance because intentions are alive. They are certainly a catalyst for change, but they can change as you change. The practice isn't about getting it right anymore. It's about staying true to yourself, staying engaged, and staying focused. And getting focused on yourself is a good thing. That doesn't make you self-absorbed or selfish. Going after what you want isn't a burden or a problem to solve. It's a mission. Ignoring the mission is a problem. And intentions set on a mission remove all the comparisons and every form of self-criticism. This is something that you can't break because it doesn't have to be perfect. It's not about perfection. It's about alignment. And if you're not clear about your mission in life, I want you to know that you already have one. And it's to find yourself and line up with who you really are and realize your potential. All the other stuff is just extra. You are a creator. We're all creators. This is what we came here for. And that is how you find yourself, by doing something with what you've got and making more of what you really want. And you're never going to find that in wishing for what someone else has. And I don't say that lightly, because I get it. If it feels like you've been working hard and not making any progress, I get that. I do. Especially if you see people around you getting what they want, and maybe especially frustrating if they're making it look easy. But any amount of envy or jealousy is telling you that you're out of alignment. If you want something that someone else has, it's time to sit down and ask yourself why. And the answer for that is different for everybody. Maybe it has something to do with a lack mentality and believing that there isn't enough for everyone, but there is. Maybe that person is actually out there working harder. You got to ask yourself, is that something that you're willing to do? And maybe they spent a long time learning how to do that thing, or working to get something that you wish you had. Are you ready to do everything they did to get where they are? And if the answer is no, then there's really nothing to be jealous about, is there? And if they just got lucky, or they've just already got more free time or more money to do what they want, and that's why you're jealous, maybe they made some of their own luck. Maybe they just made different choices that led to something that you think looks lucky. And you can make different choices too. Or maybe they really did just get lucky. Is that such a terrible thing? That could happen to you, but probably not while you're sitting there waiting for or hating on someone else's luck. And maybe, just maybe, you didn't get what they have because it's not meant for you. Maybe it's not good for you, or maybe it's just not good for you or meant for you just yet. And that doesn't have anything to do with failure. It doesn't take anything away from all the good things that you already have in your life right now. It just means that there's more growing to do. And that turns into a matter of shifting your perspective. Maybe you're busy taking care of other people and it feels like there's no time for you. That can absolutely build resentment over time, and it absolutely can lead to burnout. And there's a lot of information there. Study that, and your intentions start to get really clear. It's probably not about things that you want to have or see showing up physically. Maybe the intentions to set there are focused on creating healthy boundaries, or just making sure that you make time for yourself, or remembering why you agreed to do whatever you're doing in the first place, and anything that you do love about it. And reminding yourself that you can love what you're doing and love the people that you're doing things for, and still make some time to work on loving you. Just take a second to think about how good that would feel if you did it. And if you feel guilty for wanting something for yourself, if you feel like that's going to cause a problem for any of the people in your life, I'm here to tell you loud and clear that what you need and what you want is not a problem. Ignoring it is a problem. I'm not telling you to walk out on your responsibilities. I'm not telling you to stop doing things for other people. But if somebody else doesn't like what you need for you, that's their problem. Ignoring what you need and want for yourself just makes more jealousy and resentment grow in your life. And instead of pushing that down and just pushing forward, we're going to stop for a minute to change the way you think about it. That's a change that you can make right now. That shift in perspective will change the way you feel about doing things for yourself and what you do for other people too. Intentions set on the common good are especially powerful, but you've got to make sure that the common good includes what's good for you. If you want to turn this into a simple practice, in the beginning, I think the best intentions that you can set are the ones that can never fail. They're more like reminders. Almost like a command that you give yourself, but with a whole lot of love and grace wrapped up in there. And focused on something that you can start doing right now, almost like you were talking to somebody else, somebody that you really care about. And it should be really short and simple, and maybe even just a couple of words about how you're intentionally choosing to show up. Make peace, make more love, challenge yourself, make time for yourself. Those are all great ones. If it's something that you want to do or achieve, you highlight the energy of progress and the energy that grows throughout the process. And you can do that in a more traditional intention setting template with I statements like, I am peaceful, I am healthy. Those are really good things, and you're never failing because you're already growing that good feeling. If it's something that needs to take physical form, it really does help if you write it down in the present tense as if you already have this good thing. And this is where you can get more specific. You can sit down and write out a super simple affirmation of one thing that you want to create. And it's still just a few words that represent the energy of the end goal instead of the goal itself. And I will say this is where it gets a little bit more challenging. It's still just one clear, short sentence, but you might have to rewrite that a few times because you don't want to lie to yourself. You want to make sure that whatever you're telling yourself feels true. And if it's attached to a resolution or a goal that feels out of reach, I want you to know that nothing is out of reach. If it feels like you don't deserve it, I want you to know that you absolutely do deserve good things. If it's not attached to a specific goal, attach it to a feeling. Feelings really are the fuel behind everything that happens on the inside and eventually what happens on the outside. So you affirm how you want to feel and what you know is true about the real you. That's what you really want to see showing up in the world around you. If that wanting part still seems confusing, I'll put a link in the description to go back to how to know what you want. But right now, you're just looking for one thing that you can do today, and you get a little curious and you be nice to yourself, especially if you're here because you're in the middle of a hard time, or if you're confused and not even sure about exactly what you want to do or where you want to go. You don't need to be super specific to be clear right now. You're just getting your bearings so you can start turning yourself around. You're just looking for something small that feels attainable and true in this moment to get yourself on the right track and moving in the right direction. Something that you can repeat to yourself and believe, especially when you feel like you might be moving in the wrong direction. And once you've got something that you can say with conviction, you're just going to stop for a second and take a deep breath and tell yourself the truth. There is absolutely no way that you can fail if you do that. And learning to understand the information that comes from your feelings is going to help a lot with this. So if you haven't done it yet, now's a good time to make sure that you're getting notifications because that's what we're going to talk about next.